Hey, welcome to That Guy Talking Movies. I am That Guy Talking Movies, and on this episode, I want to quickly discuss the announced Michael Jackson biopic, announced probably a few weeks ago, and the latest news on that being that Michael's nephew, Jafar Jackson, will be playing Michael in this biopic. I got a few thoughts on this. I definitely, since the announcement of the biopic came out and that Antoine Fuqa was taking this on and Lionsgate is putting this picture out, I've immediately just had reaction to that. And I didn't do a video on it, so I wanted to do that now. And also adding to that, the fact of the casting. The first casting choice or decision here, the major decision, is who is playing Michael Jackson, his nephew. So I want to talk about that on this episode of That Guy Talks Movies. But before we get into it, if you are new to the channel and somehow you made your way here and you like listening to people talk about movies, or you want to talk movies and, you know, people collecting home media, 4K content, Criterion Collection, Arrow Video, all that wonderful stuff, streaming content. If movies are your life, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I truly appreciate that. For those of you who have stuck with me and continue to be here on my channel, which brings me to a quick announcement. I crossed the 1,000 subscriber threshold. Woo, right? Applause. Cue the applause. I thank everybody who have subscribed already and who've stuck with me. I can never thank you guys enough for that. You know, I started the channel and then I stopped after some time. I kind of just had like a break, a hiatus, or whatever hell it was. Picked it back up, and now I'm over 1,000. So I guess that's a milestone, if you will. I'm not really counting, but they did feel, you know, the need to tell me on in email, YouTube, you know, whatever. Anyway, thank you, everyone. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Let's get into the video. So Michael Jackson, this is obviously, right, probably one of, and there's only two in the history of global icons when it comes to music, right? I'm not saying we don't have any global icons now, right? I'm saying when you really think about the two in history who have totally, without question, it's usually Elvis, Michael Jackson, right? I would venture to say that Michael is even greater, only because of the fact that, I mean, there's a talent difference there. I think Michael is way more talented than Elvis. There's nothing against Elvis, but also Michael came up in the MTV generation, so he had the benefit of, you know, television and media, and even transitioning into the internet age before he passed. He passed in, you know, he was 50 years old. So I would even put him above Elvis when it comes to that global icon status and the length of his career in relation to Elvis, right? So you're dealing with an incredible, this is not a small picture by any standard whatsoever. This is where do I even start? This is going to require, I want to first talk about the immense effort that's going to be required to pull this picture off, to even make a mildly decent picture, right? The actor, obviously the actor playing Michael Jackson, is going to have to be Daniel Day-Lewis level, right? Fuck it, let's get Daniel Day-Lewis, right? It's got to be an actor of that level of skill, right? Not to mention, outside of the job of pulling off Michael Jackson and all of the varied complexities and nuances that are Michael Jackson, his personality, his voice, all of these little things that make Michael who he was outside of the singing and dancing, right? He's got to do all that acting and then has to be able to pull off the singing and dancing, right? Not an easy task. Are they going to do what they did with the Whitney picture, which is they dubbed the audio, and, you know, they had Naomi Ackie, who was playing Whitney, do a few singing bits here and there, but most of it was Whitney's real vocals. I assume you have to do that here, right? You're not going to find someone who can nail all of Michael Jackson. I mean, it's going to be very difficult. Not to mention, they have to be a great actor, which brings me to Jafar Jackson. I saw a video that he did for a song. I guess he's like, you know, obviously following in the footsteps of the family music business. And I saw a music video he did in Brazil. I forgot the name of it, but he was dancing and singing in the video. I don't see the great likeness to, I mean, obviously he's Jackson. And he did sound slightly like Michael, but not that much. The thing that stood out the most for me was that he couldn't dance. Whatever choreography and whatever they did for this video, looked like they gave him like 4 or 5 moves that would work over and over and over again in the video. And that's what they did. So I was not impressed with this. I feel like if you're looking at somebody and you're thinking, I wonder if he could play his uncle. I wonder if he could do Michael Jackson. You're looking at their dancing ability and you're saying, holy shit, like you can see it, right? Like you think about when you see Chris Brown dance. Think about if you've ever seen Usher, right? At any point, you're like, wow, they can dance. Like, forget about the Michael thing, but just the fact that they're on that level of, whoa, the way they move and how that's what I was expecting to see this Jafar Jackson kid look like. And unfortunately, he didn't deliver. So he also doesn't have any acting experience, at least nothing notable, nothing that I know of. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. If he's, I IMDb'd the kid, I don't see much. So as an actor, he's taking on a role of his uncle. God bless him. As a dancer, singer, performer, I just don't see it happening, right? So there goes the first thing on this great mission that is to create a Michael biopic, right? The actor. And I think they've already screwed that up. Not to mention, they've got to cast, I would imagine they've got to cast two. So depending on where they start in his life, right? Michael's career was from a young age, young Michael, then through the 70s, and then the off the wall Michael, mid to late 70s. And then you've got the 80s thriller Michael, and then you've got the late 80s, early 90s bad, and then dangerous, and then everything, the transition of Michael through that time period. Obviously two actors. So one will be the younger one, and I guess the older, from late 70s through will be the rest of the actor. Like that will be one actor, right? And they'll age him appropriately, which brings me to something else. The makeup and special effects, I will say, right? I'm not being cheeky. Michael's transition from a physical standpoint, he went from blackety black, like rich, chocolatey, beautiful black brother to pasty, clear, see-through Asian woman, right? Let's just be honest. And I'm not getting into why or what, I don't care. But the facts are the facts, right? In doing the film, you've got to account for that. So the actor, again, playing Michael Jackson, one of the most iconic people in music in the history of the planet, celebrities ever. You've got to transition that look, and it can't be silly. It can't be cheap. It can't be like some of the made-for-TV movies that they've done, or whatever. So there's that. Special effects, makeup, the actor, the script. This is probably the most important. I didn't start with that, though. I started with the acting because I want to talk about Jafar as well. So I got that out of the way. The script, the story. Where do you start this, right? You starting from Michael Young? Is this a complete look at the life of Michael Jackson and you're watching the whole thing, how he, takes over the lead singing part in the band and with his brothers and then goes and then goes solo and then becomes Michael? Are we dealing with that? Or are we going to start maybe at Thriller or somewhere in there? I don't know. And there's going to be flashback. I don't know. What I do know is this requires, so John Logan is the screenwriter on this, from what I understand. John Logan's got an impressive career. He's got some hits and some misses. Alien Covenant maybe that wasn't his fault, but he was one of the writers on Gladiator, which is one of my favorite scripts and one of my favorite films. He also wrote Spectre, though, and Skyfall, which are two scripts which were miserable as far as I'm concerned. As Bond pictures overall, they weren't too great. And some of that had to do with the writing. He did Hugo, though, which I thought was fantastic. Martin Scorsese's Hugo, that was a great film. He did Rango, which I really enjoy Rango. The Aviator, another Scorsese picture, which was a brilliant script and a great biopic. Howard Hughes. Last Samurai, what else? He did Any Given Sunday, one of the best sports movies, best football movies, I think, of all time. So anyway, John Logan's a screenwriter. It's in good hands, I think. But I just wonder to what degree they're going to, how they're going to tell this story. I mean, if we look at biopics as of late and we look at the most recent total fail, which was I Want to Dance with Somebody, the Whitney Houston biopic, which was just a mess. It was a mess. It was a bunch of the smaller moments and the personal moments of Whitney and trying to get her personality and the aspects of her personal life bookended with performances and iconic, videos and things and award ceremonies and such. And that's all it really was. And it was rushed and this story wasn't right. And the casting was terrible. So with Michael, we've got to have a script here that is just beyond. And what do you cover? What do you cover? You've got Michael's music career, and you've got his private life, which was always private, and we only knew but so much. Then how much information are we getting? How much are the Jacksons actually contributing to this? What are they revealing? What are they not revealing? How much of his personal life are we going to see? The scandal and all of the stuff with children and Neverland and all these different accusations. We have to deal with all that stuff, right? There is just such material here to deal with and put into a film, which again, probably could not work as a 2-hour film. This has to be a 3.5 hour picture. Shit, I'd say it's got to be a 4-hour film. Shit, I'd say it's better off just becoming a series, which a lot of people said about the Whitney movie. As it was too much there, you probably should have done a 5-part series or something. So yeah, there's a lot of material and you've got to do it the right way. You can't skim over things. You can't, I can go on and on, but story, script, acting, the music, deciding what to cover. Then you've got the supporting cast, right away. Obviously, everyone's first thought for Katherine Jackson is Angela Bassett. She's already played that role before. Who plays Joe Jackson this time? Who plays, Janet and LaToya and the brothers? Who's playing Quincy Jones? There's just the supporting cast has got to be up here, as well as the Daniel Day-Lewis-esque guy playing Michael. You've got to be here, and then your supporting cast has got to be right here with you, bro, for that to work. I just don't anticipate this being a fantastic film. I think the director, I think Antoine Fuqa, I think it's in good hands. I think it could have been better. And I think John Logan writing the script, I would have loved to have seen Oliver Stone have his hand in this. Say what you want about Oliver Stone, whether it's politically, whatever, I don't care. But from a motion picture standpoint, from an artist, someone who can write and tell stories, especially when it comes to doing biopics. He did The Doors, right? You look at JFK, you look at some of the stuff where he's captured the lives of iconic figures in history, and he's captured the essence of a story and he's put it into film. He's got a fantastic handle on that. And someone like that is my first thought when it comes to doing a Michael Jackson biopic, it would have to be Oliver Stone. We'll see what happens with Antoine Fuqa. Again, I think there's a lot on the brothers' hands. I even think Spike Lee would do a better job than Antoine Fuqa. And I say that because Spike did a fantastic job capturing 3 decades of Malcolm X, right? Like he had to cover that brother's life, and that was an iconic figure. There was a lot going on there, and there was a lot of complexity to his life and a lot of transitions. So I thought Spike brilliantly handled that material. It's one of my favorite films, and it's definitely my favorite Spike Lee film. So yeah, I'm not sure Antoine Fuqa is going to handle this the right way, and I don't want to put all of it on his shoulder, because again, it comes down to what's your supporting cast look like, who's the guy playing Michael, and how well is this script going to be written. Those are my thoughts on Michael Jackson, the biopic. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure you've heard about this. Are you eagerly anticipating this? Are you thinking like what I'm thinking? Are we going into this very nervous? And I'm going to end this like I say about all the other stuff, right? When I look forward and I'm rendering an opinion on something that hasn't come out yet, I'm wanting to go to the theater, sit down, and have my Twizzlers and my popcorn and dump my M&Ms in there and watch. And I want it to be great. I want to walk out, especially as a Michael Jackson fan, and I want to feel good. This just makes me nervous. I just don't think it can happen. And keep in mind, no matter what they come up with, right, you're going to piss off XYZ amount of fans no matter what. Like, you can't satisfy everybody doing a Michael Jackson picture. You've got that generation who grew up with Michael Jackson. You've got the 80s. Then you got people born in the 90s or late 80s who are Michael Jackson fans. Hell, people born in 2000s that are Michael fans. People grew up generations, and they see Michael in different ways. So how do you do a film that speaks to them, to that generation, to their Michael? Like, how do you do that? And to someone who maybe not even familiar with Michael, which I can't imagine anyone's not, but what if you sat in a theater and wanted to watch this and learn about Michael Jackson? Are they going to do enough to make you feel this man's presence and what he did in the world and who he was and all of the again, complexities and the various parts of Michael that made Michael Michael, right? Anyway, enough from me on That Guy Talks Movies. Again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel and somehow you made it here, hit that subscribe button. I truly appreciate it. Hit the like button on the way out, and I will see you on the next That Guy Talks Movies. Do not forget, in the comments, let me know your thoughts on the Michael biopic, on Antoine Fuqa, on John Logan, on the script, what you think should happen, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.